So, A2Gold has recently completed a geophysical survey at the Eastside Project in Nevada that the CEO of the company, Peter Janula, says redefines the project. The data has shown that the mineralized system extends well beyond the current resource area. Now, starting in January, the company is planning 18,000 meters of drilling with a resource update that's expected in Q1 of 2026. So Peter, if we can bring you in here now, you said that this physical data, like I said, redefines Eastside. What does that mean? Is it that it's much larger in terms of the system that you're now looking at?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. What it really tells us is that since we hadn't really explored or have a good understanding of the other two mineralized areas between the two main mineralized zones that we have, which are Mcintosh and Castle, it gave us another data point, which is kind of important in future drilling for exploratory drilling. So what we've done over the past few years is a lot of trying to develop Mcintosh and Castle, expand that known resource that we have in an inferred resource combined of about 1.5 million ounces and 9 million ounces of silver, 1.5 million ounces of gold. And now we're turning our attention to some of the exploration targets that we had really kind of neglected just because we were essentially in a bad bear market, and we really wanted to focus all our capital into the resource area. What the geophysics tells us is that there are many targets that we have not yet tested, and those targets should be tested through an exploration program, which we plan to commence in January. And in a very the largest exploration program, the largest drill program we've ever done in any single year, will commence in January. And we're fully funded for that. So we can do significantly more than 18,000. One of the things that we're looking at, we haven't announced to the market yet, but do we want to increase that beyond the 18,000 meters? I would look at 18,000 meters actually as the minimum amount of meters we'll do.
Okay. Well, in your latest news release, kind of updating us about all of this, it's also told us that the data shows your mineralization extending into what's been called, or what you call, a pediment corridor within cover. For those of us who are unfamiliar with geology, what does that mean? Why is that important to point out?
Well, traditional geology, or much of geology that's done in Nevada, is looking at rock samples and soil samples and alterations that are at surface. So you're looking at rocks, you're chipping away at them to the lab. So a lot of the gold will manifest itself at surface. So you're actually able to get a visual on what you want to drill, and generally that's done through sampling, so rock sample geochem. But pediment is when the mountainous area actually goes under the ground. Well, not necessarily underground, but underneath what is essentially gravel, or what's called the pediment. You really have no outcrops there to as a reference point. So geophysics helps you understand how that mountain is manifesting under the ground, where you typically can't do geochem. So you have to rely essentially on geophysics. What it has shown us is that there are numerous targets that we had never seen before underneath the pediment, or consider that like a gravel area, which has gotten us very, very excited, and many of our strategic partners very, very excited as well. And one of the reasons why we're contemplating actually expanding beyond the 18,000 meters that we had initially announced, because there's so many targets for us to drill and so many potential opportunities to dramatically expand the known resource area. And we believe that now is the time to actually drill it out, and for once and for all, drill out Eastside as a district, drill out Eastside as it should have been drilled for many, many years.
Well, I understand that you've actually completed drilling recently. There's assay results coming out soon. Talk to us about what you were testing there, and also when those results are expected to come out.
Yeah, so this is completely different than what we're gonna embark on in January. This was to test the deeper targets underneath the Mcintosh zone, and what it's designed to do is to see, well, is there any underground potential for the Mcintosh? Only for the Mcintosh, and an underground possibility, which would be great to have. And we should have results coming out, in this week or next week, and we will release that when we receive those and we're able to kind of interpret that. I think that's the most important thing. But it's one of a series of drilling programs that we'll do. The deeper high grade, or the deeper core drilling, was designed to test for higher grade at larger depths, down to 500 to 600 meters. And, if we can prove up any mineralization, well, that's just a major plus. The real opportunity will come in this next drill program where we're going to be doing infill drilling at the Mcintosh and Castle, which is to connect some of the subzones within those areas. We'll do step out drilling to expand, or the potential to expand the known pit area. And then we're going to get into true exploration efforts where we're going to target what we discovered, or, what has been interpreted at the geophysics. So there's a lot of great things that we're going to be doing in the next coming, I would say, 6 to 9 months, maybe the entire year if we expand it, to that size. And, as again, we've never properly tested Eastside. This is going to be the first time we've actually gone out and tried to drill out the entire deposit.
Mm-hmm. Well, as mentioned at the top, you're expecting a resource update in Q1 of next year. What do you think would make that update what the market would respond to? What would make it successful?
Yeah, so I think looking at what we're trying to achieve, most likely that's going to come out at the beginning of the second quarter, because we're going to start with the drill program at infill and the step out drilling, and so we'll complete that first. There's probably a chance we could have that updated resource estimate at the end of the first quarter. It's most likely going to happen at the beginning of the second quarter, and then we get into the exploration. That RC program, this 18,000 meter, which I think is the minimum we'll do. We'll start with infill drilling. We'll move to step out drilling, and then we'll do some of the exploration targets. And if we're fortunate, we'll do all of the exploration targets associated with the geophysics program. What are we targeting? Well, we're targeting, the last resource estimate we did was in July of 2021, so over 4.5 years ago. And gold was at around $1,700 an ounce. Silver was, I believe, in the low 20s at that time. Silver's at 57, 58. Gold's over 4,200, 4,250, and then we've done a series of infill drilling as well as step out drilling throughout the project. So we're going to try to incorporate all that to come out with a updated resource estimate. We've always said that Eastside, which includes Mcintosh and Castle, in our belief, has to be the 2 to 3 million ounce target to become a large deposit. And our goal hasn't changed. We're targeting 2 to 3 million, maybe 5 million ounces over the longer term. But in this next round, what we'd like to see is just an incremental increase in the resource, and while maintaining as much grade as you can, because one of the issues is that when you increase the gold prices, well, grade tends to drop because you're pulling out all the incremental lower grade stuff that was not economical at 1,700, and now may become economical, which has the side effect of the byproduct of leading to lower grade. So our goal is to try to keep grade as where it stands and increase the resource. That would be a home run for us.
All right. Well, Peter, thank you for being here for the update.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a great week.
To follow A2Gold, you can just search AUAU at CEO.CA. The company trades on the Venture Exchange. Thanks for watching.